pages up right on that first one. So
Yes, yes. And if you've got a WordPress blog, if you've got a WordPress-based website, it's honestly almost automated that you can add stuff like this. You can manually add in, you know, hey, here's something I think people should look at, but there are also tools in WordPress that will automatically go through your old posts and pages and stuff like that, and it'll make some automatic suggestions. Jim?
Is the, what you called before on a previous page you had up there, page view time interaction, is that factored into bounce rate? I mean, if I come onto a site and I stay for 35 minutes reading stuff versus I click on and off in 30 seconds, is that?
Right, and I've spent too much time talking about bounce rate. What we're talking about in general, Jim was asking about, one of my other bullet points that I had was time on website, viewing time of your page. And I've spent too much time talking about bounce rate. The big picture is user engagement, user experience with your website. Google wants your users to have a good experience with your website. And in general, how many pages they look at is one of the things that Google considers. If they only look at one page, they have less of a user experience. If they look at multiple pages, they probably got a better user experience. Another one of the things that they look at besides bounce rate is time on a page. If they spend 5 seconds on a page, they probably have not had a good experience. If they spend 2 minutes or 35 minutes on a page, they have probably had a better experience because they probably found something interesting. Those are only 2 of hundreds of things that Google's actually looking at. The concept is, does the visitor to your website have a good user experience? And Google is trying to come up with ways to decide that with a math formula. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, another one of the things that I encourage you to have on each one of your pages or posts on your blog is to have social sharing options, social media sharing options. How many of you guys are not active on either Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn? Is there anybody that's not yet? Okay. So for the most part, except for Mom, everybody has at least dabbled in it. That's great. Okay. Google has told us, starting only about a year ago, Google has told us that your social media profile, your social media presence, is one factor that they look at when they decide whether you rank number 1, 2, 3, 17, or 1200. Is it the biggest factor? No. Is it a major factor today? No. Is it probably going to be getting to be a larger factor? Yes. I do not believe that your social media profile will ever be the biggest thing that Google's looking at. But it's something that you should be trying to focus on and capitalize on, just like these other things we're talking about. This is one more thing that I think you ought to be doing. You ought to be encouraging people to share the content, share the page that they found on your website. Encourage them to share it on Facebook. Encourage them to tweet about it. Make it easy for them to share it on social media. And the primary places as of today, and actually it's getting close to where I'm going to put Pinterest on here, but the primary places where you should be encouraging people to share your content is on Google+. How many of you guys are using Google+? Get on the train. It's going to keep growing. Google is going to be forcing it on us. Okay? Any of you guys believe me or not believe me? Let me tell you this. I have spoken to a number of Google employees, and they have told me directly their annual bonus for every Google employee is based upon the success of Google+. I believe from everything that I have seen is that Google is betting the farm on Google+. Are there going to be problems along the way? Absolutely. Is it going to be huge in 2 months or 2 years? I don't know. But they are not going to give up on Google's version of social media. And I'm sorry if you've got too many things to do. Google+ is another one of those places that you need to at least spend some time. Get to learn it a little bit. Okay? I'd be happy to be connected with you on Google Plus, and you can start seeing a little bit about what's going on there. Part of the reason why it's important to be involved on Google Plus, Search Plus Your World. Some of you guys are seeing a lot of personalized results show up on Google sometimes when you search for something. That's on purpose. Personalization is a big thing that Google is moving toward. This is Google Plus, Search Plus Your World. That's their fancy name for everything's personalized based upon what your friends think. Okay? That, in and of itself, is probably today the biggest reason why you want to get involved in Google Plus. Because if you and I are connected on Google Plus, then my stuff and stuff that I like on Google Plus is dramatically raised in the rankings when you search. So as of right now, it behooves me to have as many connections on Google Plus as possible. Same thing for you. It's a great way to circumvent all these traditional search engine optimization factors. Just get a lot of friends on Google Plus. Facebook and Bing have a partnership. How many of you guys are on Facebook? How many of you guys are most of the time logged into Facebook? Most of the room. Okay. If you're logged into Facebook and you go to search for something on Bing, and we're friends, I just clicked on like on this national plumber. If you're searching for a plumber, maybe this plumber that I just liked would normally be number 12 or something like that. But because of our connection on Facebook, and because I like that plumber is not going to be number 12, they're going to be number 3. That's a big deal. It's the same thing that Google Plus is trying to do, but Facebook and Bing are doing that right now. And so it's another reason to be active on Facebook. I believe it's also important to be on Twitter, to have a YouTube channel, and to be active on LinkedIn. If you can't do everything, don't try yet. Take baby steps. There are so many things that you can do. If you're just starting, you can't do them all. I can't do them all. I struggle to keep up with all these different things. And I know how important it is. I preach this. I evangelize about it. And I can't keep active on all these different things. Yes, yes. The comment is, something that I don't have on here is that you need to be focused on is Apple. And from my perspective, I've been talking about this. You know, over the years that I've been working with search engine marketing, search engine optimization, internet marketing, we've been talking about who's going to be the next Google, who's going to be going after Google. Is it going to be Microsoft? Is it going to be MSN.com? Is Yahoo going to make a comeback? Is it going to be Baidu? Is it going to be Ask.com? And honestly, I think that if we look at this 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, at some point in time, it's not going to be Bing that's Google's biggest competitor. It's probably going to be Apple. How many of you guys have a phone with Siri on it? How many of you guys have seen Siri or heard about it at least? Siri is basically, hey Siri, I got a leaky basement. What should I do? And Siri is going to say, well, I found 3 plumbers within 10 miles of your location. Siri, through Apple, has the potential to completely change what we think of as searching for something online. I don't know if they'll be able to pull it off, but I'm not going to bet against Apple. We could have a complete 2-day workshop.
So you're saying that Apple has got a social?
No. This is kind of more, not necessarily this slide. It's a big picture perspective of what do you need to be thinking about for the future of online visibility in general. How do you promote yourself through the internet? And the comment was just that, you know, today it's pretty much all about Google and some of the other social media networks. In the future, we might be talking about, who's that Google out there? You got to be listed on Apple. You got to be listed on Siri. So we're a little off topic, but still, it's something that to think about in the future. John, you had a question?
Except in Scotland.
Siri, S-I-R-I, is the voice recognition based search that Apple is promoting. It's not a huge thing today. I won't be surprised if it is in the future. Yeah. Pinterest. There's another one that I'm very close to adding another bullet point here. How many of you guys have heard of Pinterest? Pinterest. What do you know? Almost every female in the room raised their hand, and very few of the males raised their hand. Pinterest is a new social media network where you basically share pictures and images and PDFs and stuff like that. It has taken off like freaking wildfire in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It is crazy popular all of a sudden. Is it going to be around in a month or 2 or 3? I don't know. As of today, I think it's absolutely something that you should be looking at, not before you look at these. It has the potential to make it onto my list, and it has the potential to make it, to be a very important point of our list. However, it's too new. If you're not doing the other things, it's not time for you to focus much of any time on Pinterest. Does that make sense? It's along the same lines of, if you don't have a website, don't go and blow 50 hours of your time on your social media. You need a website first. You've got to crawl before you walk. Okay? Yes, thanks.
If you do have a WordPress site, do not use Add This plugin for social media buttons. I spent about an hour last night searching down. One of my clients had added that, and it totally goofed her permalinks. It adds a tracking code thing at the end of it.
Mayanna's got a really nice blog for people that are interested in the WordPress platform, and she also puts a lot of good tips in her Google Plus stream. I follow her, and she follows me to try to keep up with what's going on. I do want to point out 2 of the wrong things. We've been talking about putting the right words in the right places. I want to talk about 2 things that you can do that are wrong that can get you in trouble. The first of them is the meta keyword tag. The meta keyword tag is another, we originally talked about the meta description tag, where you would put a description, a 1 or 2 sentence, relatively short description about each page in the meta description tag. There is something called the meta keyword tag, and it is basically in the code, hidden from people. It is a list of keywords that you think you should show up on when somebody searches for them. It is an absolute waste of time. In 1997, when Google started, Google said, we're going to ignore the meta keyword tag. And that's how important it is. Google has never looked at the meta keyword tag. It is a waste of time, and unfortunately, if you search the internet for search engine optimization tips or advice, you will find some people saying, make sure you have a good meta keyword tag and it's X number of characters long, and make sure that you have a space and a comma between each word, and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. It's a waste of time. Google doesn't look at it. Bing just told us they look at it in one specific situation. Bing said, the only time that we look at the meta keyword tag is when we've seen other signals that people are trying to do spammy, manipulative tactics with their website. If we think they're doing bad things with their website, then we'll send out a special spam inspection robot to their website, and that one will look at their meta keyword tags. So here's the bottom line. Waste of time to do anything with your meta keyword tags. Got it? All right. Google has also, especially for the last year, has been on a large kick for focusing on quality, high quality. You are writers. You know what is quality, and you know what is low quality. There are a lot of guys like me who are not as talented writers as you are, that we make up stuff or we try to automate the creation of content, and you've seen it. You've seen web pages that you can't hardly understand. It's like somebody in the third world country who doesn't hardly know English couldn't write this poorly, right? That is the extreme example of low quality content. Google has told us they want to reward high quality content. And so you guys have, because of your profession, your expertise, and your skills, you have a leg up on people as far as creating quality content. You know what that is. Try to focus on that. But quality content by itself, just because you write quality content does not necessarily mean that they'll find it, right? If you have the high quality content and you put the right words in the right places, and you do some of the other things that you need to do, you're well on your way toward having better visibility with the search engines. I wanted to point out one other thing, probably not an issue for people in this room. Google recently announced that they actually look at what you have above the fold of your web page. Who knows what I mean when I say above the fold of a web page? Who knows what I mean when I say above the fold of a newspaper? Okay? Everybody knows. You got a newspaper? All right? So I'm reading the front page of the newspaper. There's a great big headline here. There's some stories and picture here. And then I have to unfold it below the fold to read the bottom of the page of the newspaper. The most important stuff's above the fold, right? With a web page, if you've got a long web page, the browser, your window shows you that part of the web page, right? And then you would have to scroll down to see below the fold. Does that make sense now? Okay. Google has just told us that if your web page has too many ads above the fold and not enough content above the fold, then they're going to say, you're not so good quality. We're going to apply a dampening factor, which is a nice way of saying penalize you. And so you want to make sure it's perfectly fine and legitimate to have advertising on your website. Just try to make sure that when somebody goes to your website, they can easily find the content. They're not just bombarded with a bunch of ads. Does that make sense? And focus on the quality of your content. I'm almost done here. I want to tell you one thing. There are a lot of best practices in search engine optimization. I've been doing this a long time. I've got a lot of experience in a number of different facets of internet marketing, and specifically with search engine optimization. However, I want to tell you that unfortunately, it's not as simple as hitting a checklist. What we've talked about tonight with putting the right words in the right places, I'm shooting for the 80-20 rule with you. If you guys can identify the right words, and you can put the right words in these right places that we've talked about, you are going to be well on your way to better visibility of your web pages. I'll let you know that as you take the next step, the advanced step to get beyond that 80-20 rule, there are a lot of different factors that come into play in Google. That's the reason why I tried to give you the visual of all these things that I try to keep up with to try to understand as much as possible. There are actually times when I don't follow all these things, because there might be, you want to have something as short as possible, but you want to have it descriptive as possible. You can't do both in every situation. Sometimes best practices say 60 characters. Well, sometimes there's a reason why it's got to be 80, okay? And so the rules that I've given you tonight for the right words in the right places, they are excellent, excellent basic steps for getting you on the path to online visibility. I want you to understand that there are exceptions to the rules. Nothing is 100% set in stone. But if you follow these things that we've talked about tonight, you, for the most part, aren't going to have to worry about all these other things that are flowing through my head on a regular basis. So with that, we're going to wrap this up. We are going to be around to take questions. I'll be here as long as you want tonight, but I wanted to thank you for, and I've also got the handout, the graphic that I've got for you. I didn't bring enough of these printouts, but I do have, if you will swing by, I've got a little contact sheet that you can take home with exactly how to contact me, and I will email a copy of the right words in the right places to you. I'm also going to quickly plug tomorrow night. The normal meetup group that I run is called the Nashville SEO and Internet Marketing Meetup Group. Tomorrow night, the focus, tonight we focused on putting those right words in the right places. We focused on what are the right places. Tomorrow night, my session is going to be on how do you find the right words. The general term is referred to as keyword research. I'm going to give you some very straightforward tips and tools. I'm going to give you the process that I go through. We're going to run through a couple of examples. And I'm also going to give you some of the tools that I use, some of the tools that are free that you can use to identify what are those right words so that you can put those right words in the right places. If, Anna, will you
Here
give me?
Tomorrow night here.
It'll actually be here tomorrow night at 6:30. On my contact information, I've got, you want to start on that side of the room? On this page, I've got the date and time. We're going to be doing that meeting in this same room tomorrow night. I know it's tough to give up 2 nights in a row, but if you can make it, I'd love for you to be here. Thanks, everybody. I'll be around, and we'll get into question and answers for anybody that wants to stick around. Thanks.
Okay. Also, Anna said Dana Lynn Smith, The Savvy Bookmarker. Good book. Savvy Bookmarker. Dana Lynn. Yeah.